Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We are going to be talking with Hannah Reid today about intermittent fasting. Now, I've known Hannah for a little while. She's an occupational therapist, um, and she is absolutely into intermittent fasting for body and brain. So, Hannah, absolutely lovely to have you
Hi,
here.
Karen.
Thank you for your time. Now, you're a really big advocate for intermittent fasting. So, would you like to share with us why that is? What's happened for
Yeah,
you that you are so positive
yeah.
about it?
Um, so I'm 6 to 8 months into this journey. I hadn't done a hell of a lot of no fasting before, um, except for before surgery, which wasn't fun. That kind of fasting. uh, but I came across this intermittent fasting through a health system that I was introduced to through some friends. And the reason why I got into it was I was feeling very fatigued and low energy.
Yeah,
I just had my second bubba, and I'd been fatigued the whole pregnancy, but I'd also gained a lot of weight, and then I just definitely postpartum depression and just quite lackluster. And I felt like it was, even initiating movement was difficult. I just felt really drained. So
yeah,
my friends helped me out by introducing me to this health system, and a part of that system is intermittent fasting. Um, it's not something that is easy to wrap your head around, fasting, and I hadn't really thought about it as something that I would be able to do. I thought it was like way beyond me, that kind of shit, like too scary. I can't do hungry, like I'm not that way inclined. I love my food and I love being regular with my food, and yeah. So when I first tried it, it's a real mind battle. I
yeah,
I psyched myself up the day before. I'm like, yep, I'm doing a fast tomorrow as part of this thing, and um, and then in the morning of the fast, your brain is just going, like my brain just was going, fuck, I want to eat, I want to eat, I want to eat, like just really just freaking out. And you have to do a lot of self talk and just kind of, you can do this and you can do this, and and it's just like hour by hour on the first cleanse day, on the first fast day. And like, it's true what they say, it's crap before it gets better. Like, the first day was just headache, felt like shit, just drink a lot of water, drink a lot of um like herb tea that we take in the system. It's supported fasting, so you've got particular snacks you can have that curb hunger. You've got a herbal tea
yeah,
that stops your body from stressing out too much. So the first day, like probably the first 3 fasts, I had headaches, migraine, like migraine lights, um, felt quite faint, I'm not selling fasting right now. Like, I'm not selling it
yeah,
to anyone, but I'm being realistic. Like, the first few fasts, if you've never done it before, can be not fun. So you kind of got to plan your life around doing that kind of thing.
yeah,
I was willing to give it a risk because of the reason, like what happens to your body during a fast. And so I can go through that a little bit.
yeah.
Um,
Because you're a bit of a
I
researcher,
love
aren't you? You
yeah,
like to
I love my
understand.
science. I'm really into
Yeah,
science. I love having evidence-based stuff to work on. I
Yeah.
don't like fads or, you know, do this, it's cool, like have a lemon drink all day and drink salt
No
water
gimmicky
and
things.
like I did try that, but it's not good. It's not good. So, like you go through the fads and then you're like, what the hell? I just want science. And this is backed by science. So there's a couple of dudes. So Michael Mosley talks about it. And
And he's really
he's
famous
yeah,
too. Yeah.
he's a doctor. I suppose it comes with the territory, but he did a lot of research and self research as well. So anything he was researching, he'd try on himself, and then
Yeah.
he would test it and look at the science and the results pre and post and all that kind of thing. So it's quite cool if you read his books. One of his books is the Fast 800 book, and he talks about different ways of doing intermittent fasting because there's not one way that you can do it. There's lots of different ways.
Yeah.
But once you start researching it, you go, oh crap, this is actually like a secret, like a uh, yeah,
Magical
like
secret.
no one wants you to know this shit because it makes you well and healthy, and you're not relying on the food industry and you're not relying on the pharmaceutical industry, and it's a secret. So
Yeah.
don't try it. Don't even like look into it because this shit is magical. So this is why I'm talking to you about it, because it's magic. So what happens is that got me onto it. I was like, okay, this might actually make some kind of dent in my poor body that's like totally done. So within 4 to 8 hours, your blood sugar falls and insulin is no longer produced. So you do feel a bit lightheaded because your blood sugar is falling. So you got to look after yourself and know what's going on. After 12 hours, all your food is consumed and it's burned off, and a thing called human growth hormone increases. And then after 16 hours, your body ramps up fat burning. So you just burn all the excess fat.
That's kind of like a metabolic
It
switch, isn't
is,
it?
yeah. It's just like
Yeah.
ketones, what do you call it? The ketone stuff.
Yes, that's right. And so, if I understand it from our previous conversation, it's like you're burning sugar, and then when that hits
Start
you,
burning the
your body
fat.
switches over and starts
And
burning the fat.
yeah,
So what's been stored.
yeah, and your body actually prefers to burn ketones rather than glucose. It prefers that state. So so it ramps that up, and then after 18 hours, so only 18 hours, like we're not at 24 hours yet, but 18 hours, the human growth hormone starts to skyrocket. And then after 24 hours, autophagy begins and drains all glycogen stores. So autophagy is when your body eats its old cells.
Yeah, right.
Now that's when the magic really freaking starts. Is
So that's
yeah.
24 hours in. Yeah.
Then after 36 hours, your autophagy increases by 300%. So if you can last longer, which I haven't been able to do yet, I've only reached the 24-hour mark, but my goal this year is to do a 72-hour fast. So 36
Yeah.
hours, your autophagy increases by 300%. After 48 hours, your immune system resets completely. So you've got a whole new immune system. And then 72 hours, your autophagy maxes out and plateaus. So there's no benefit after 72 hours.
Yeah.
So it removes autophagy as a natural self-preservation mechanism. The body removes all the damaged and dysfunctional parts of a cell and then recycles other parts towards cellular repair. So you get new cells. Yeah.
Wow. That is like big maximum. Let's think about that for a moment, because if the body, anybody with an
Mm-hmm.
immune kind of immunity issue,
And
wow.
fatigue. It's great for weight loss, full stop, but you've got heart disease. It reduces the risk of heart disease. It lowers your blood sugar, increases your insulin sensitivity, and it even boosts your brain. So um, there's science that shows that when the body's in a state of ketosis, when you're burning fat,
Yeah.
so not even when you get autophagy, it's it's before you hit that, even you're getting benefits. So the body creates new brain cells called a BDNE, or brain derived neurotropic factor, which is an antidepressant.
And when does that
So
hit?
that hits when you're 12, between 12 and 16 hours of fasting. So that's why
Yeah,
even
right.
a short time restricted fast works
Yeah.
to give you a natural antidepressant. So let's put this in like a real, like, okay, Karen, let's say you did a fast tomorrow
Yep.
and you started really simple and you didn't have anything to support it or whatever. Anyone can do this, right? You can just do 12 to 12. So say you have dinner at 6 p.m., you don't eat anything until 6 a.m., right? If you want to slowly increase that, you eat dinner at 6 p.m., you wake up the next day, you eat breakfast at 7 a.m., the following day you do 8 a.m., the following day you do 9 a.m., and by 10 you're at the 16-12
Yeah.
window, which is what Michael Mosley, one of them is 16-12
Yep.
time restricted fast. And to me, that's achievable. I think that's really a great place to start and a very nice,
Yeah.
achievable thing to do. And you're still getting that antidepressant hormone to your brain. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Um, so that's the kind of the physical benefits.
Mm.
And they say that this guy, the protein pacing diet guy, who is a doctor as well, he's done a lot of research on this. He talks about intermittent fasting, that helps the body restore, replenish, and heal, and even shows signs of slowing down aging in humans. It says the best time to do house cleaning is when your house is decluttered, right? So you don't want to clean your house when you've got a whole lot of clutter. You want to clean it when the house is fairly empty.
Yeah.
So that is like when you do a fast, you're emptying your body so that it can clean itself.
Yeah.
And he talks about how this thing called polychlorinated biphenyls, which is a toxin.
Is that stuff? Is that the stuff in the plastic?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So PCBs, or
That's it.
polychlorinated biphenyls, they're used in the manufacture of plastics, and lubricants, and are in protective coating for wood, metal, concrete, and adhesives like wire coating and so forth. They're highly toxic to aquatic life, and they persist in the environment for a very long time. And they can accumulate. This is where it affects us really badly. It accumulates in food chains, and then um, the extent of which the world has become contaminated by this is quite mind-boggling. PCBs are stored in our body in the fat cells, in the fat tissue. Yeah. And so when you're doing intermittent fasting, you're actually cleaning out your fat and your PCBs go with it. So that's a really great thing to clean out. Ew.
Let's get rid of the nasties. Yeah.
It's quite freaky, actually. I'm like, oh my God. When I started looking into this, I'm like, oh, geez. When was the last time I cleaned my house? You know?
Yeah, wow.
What are we living with here? So
That's right, because, I mean, the body is the temple for the soul, isn't it? This is the sacred
yes.
container.
And imagine if you were doing your spiritual practice in a clean house, how that would feel compared to the cluttered, horrible, toxic
Dusty.
house. It's quite hard to get really good vibes in a toxic house. You know, like it's very difficult to zone in to a very, like, yeah. So this is why I think partly why religion is has fasting as part of it. So you've got Islamic holy month of fasting in Ramadan. They don't eat or drink between sunrise to sunset, and they're specifically mindful of speech, thought, and action during that time. Judaism, they significantly reduce or abstain from food and drink for 6 consecutive days of the year. Catholics give up certain food during the month of Lent.
Oh, I don't know how good the Catholics are. I'm a recovering Catholic. I don't recall giving up anything too serious for Lent.
I think people give up chocolate or something.
Yeah, so that was more my sort of scene. But yeah, I'm sure that historically it was a much more serious and sacred ritual. Yeah. We're naughty Catholics.
And even the Jews would do a fast for, I think it was for 7 consecutive days it was during their holy festivals, when they were setting new intentions for their new year. So out with the old and with the new. And fasting is a very good way of becoming hyper aware of your surroundings and what you're doing and being very mindful. It takes you out of your routine and it shakes it up a bit, so you're thinking slightly differently. And there's a you're on a different level when you're doing a fast in a way, because you are quite hyper aware, and
even your eyesight is improved. All interesting things happen.
I mean, I'm very alert, and I get frightened easily as well. So there's that side of it too, because you are really everything is sensitive.
It makes sense too when you think about it. You know, as hunter-gatherers back in, the day when we had to hunt for our food, the hungrier we became, we had to become more alert so that we could see beastie down the valley, all of those sorts of things.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you become more sensitive to things and your surroundings and everything. And it's kind of like, I liken it to going camping. So
Camping.
so when you go camping, you abstain from your usual comforts. Right.
Yeah.
But you choose to go because there's benefits to it.
Ah,
Even
yes,
though it's
that's right.
uncomfortable. Like, I want my bed, I want free, like, warm water, I want a shower, but you're abstaining from all those things because you want to see the stars, or you want to hear the wind at night, or you want to go down and sleep by the river.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like that. It's uncomfortable, but you're benefiting in a different way. And then you come home and you go, "Ah, yes, my life is so abundant." And it's like that when you eat again. You can honestly, you taste, it's like, oh, your mouth just goes, "Holy shit, I love food."
little taste explosions on your tongue. Oh, so funny. It's true though, isn't it? It is true.
Yeah.
It's like when you reduce sugar in your diet and then you eat carrots, and suddenly you
Yes.
realise carrots are so ridiculously
Yes.
sweet. Can you possibly take
I
eating them?
know. It's
And
amazing.
some apples are just too sweet to actually eat. You don't want that Fuji apple because it's too
Yeah.
sugary.
And you never
Mm,
noticed that before. That's the thing. And I think when you start on this trajectory where you're mindful of what you're putting in your body, and you're mindful of when you're not putting things in your body,
yeah,
it gets easier to choose. It gets easier to say no to some things too, because your biome, your gut biome changes and heals, and then it's like, I don't want that crap anymore, and you just don't feel like
yeah,
it anymore. So it actually makes it easier in the long term. So even though it's short term pain, there is long term gain.
yeah.
Yeah.
And has it helped you getting all the
Mm.
science side of it, getting that sort of squared away in your own mind? Is that what's helped you to move through the discomfort to get that longer
Yeah.
term gain? Is that how you've
Yeah.
done it? Or is there another way you've done it?
The science bloody helps, because you can go, oh, 8 hours I'm in this part, 16 hours I'm in this part. I'm getting benefits. I'm getting benefits. So you can talk to yourself like that. Weight loss is a freaking great outcome. If you want to lose weight, it is, it's, you cannot not lose weight after a fast day, really. It's it's a super helpful way. There is ways of maintaining your weight, and that kind of thing, even with fasting. But for me, I have definitely lost weight fasting, and that is a really good motivator. So I can go and eat pretty much anything I want, do a fast, and I'll lose a kg. So it's like,
Wow.
that's great outcome for me. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do another fast next week, and then I'll lose another kg. Um, so there's freedom. There's freedom within, that short term pain, and then you go, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
fuck, I feel a lot better.
Yeah. So it's you're empowered. You're actually making those choices in a place of power.
Yeah, I am. I'm choosing when I do it. So I'll go, nah, today is just not the day for it. Like, I am not in the right headspace. So I plan. You have to psych yourself for it. You can't just go, oh shit, it's a cleanse day. No, you have to go the day before. You go, okay, tomorrow I'm doing a cleanse, and you set yourself up for it. I think you need to set yourself up for it, because it's a different kind of day. So um beware that if you're an emotional eater, which I am, and you can't eat to emotionally suppress crap, then
Yeah.
the crap kind of does come to surface, and it comes kind of quite strongly. So that's another thing to be aware of, I guess, on those days when you're fasting. And I guess that's why it's great to have a spiritual practice or some sort of mindfulness on those fasting days too.
Yeah. Okay.
and also to have support. So I try and do my fasts on the same day. I get my husband to do them with me so that he's not eating in front of me, or vice versa. Or, yeah, it's really hard when someone's eating in front of you and you're trying to fast. Like, it's almost impossible. It's torture, actually. So
Yes.
you best just leave
Absolutely.
the house or something. Some people do it when they're working because they're busy and it's easier to do when you're working. So you're not thinking about it so much and you're in the flow of something else. I I get really tired. I think it's about letting go, um, slowing down. Um, so I actually tend to like to do my fasts on a weekend, which is kind of like, oh, who would? Oops, am I back? Um, who would want to do a fast on a weekend? That's when I do mine because I get really tired and I want to have a sleep. And I don't want to work when I'm doing a fast because my brain is slower and things like that. I'm just slower and I'm letting go of things. But it means that I'm thinking about um, other types of stuff that comes up, and then you can do a lot of healing work as well. Yeah.
Right. So, in a way, it sounds like you're almost using this as a genuine release on not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and
Yeah.
spiritually as well.
I think you
Yeah,
definitely
right.
start on the physical level because you're like, holy shit, all you can feel is physical. But then once you're
Yeah,
past that hard bit, it becomes more about a practice. Yeah.
yeah,
And then you can actually think and look at other things. Um, so yeah, so just for your listeners, I was like fasting and then I was like, oh, I need to have a session with Karen. So, you know, book that for the next day. But, it's like it comes up and you go, shit, I need to deal with that. I don't really know what it is, but I need to deal with it. And it comes out when you're in a space of vulnerability and you're open to yourself and you're not going to go and eat and suppress it
yeah,
and
right.
shut it down with all the
Yeah.
other routine in your life or whatever. Yeah.
Mm,
And
wow.
then you can do some real healing work and actually freaking deal with some heavy shit and detox your life in other ways and then heal
Yeah.
and then become freer and lighter and more loving in spaces where you didn't have love before. So it's what happens in the physical happens in the spiritual and vice versa. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
absolutely. Everything's connected, isn't it? Ah. Now, you spoke about getting support. Now, my my experience with fasting is a little bit different to yours because I'm sort of a do or die kind of girl. That's been my history. I can't really do it like that anymore. But like when I started, there's been colonics involved and off somewhere with a whole bunch of people looking in colanders to see what's come out of your digestive system, like kind of disgusting things.
yum,
And but the taking of juices and herbs and bentonite clay and stuff like that, a little bit extreme, but um, those things and having steams and stuff, um, the supportive mechanism. What do you
hmm.
use to support yourself um, physically as well
Yeah,
as in other ways?
yeah. So the doctor dude, this guy, he says that you
Yeah,
need to really build up your nutrition before you do a fast. So making
yeah,
sure you're not just going from eating real crap to fasting because that will really stress your body. So he talks about eating dirty food, which I thought might be like a bit of you because like eating stuff from your garden, right? Eating dirty, organic, awesome food. And if you
yeah,
can't get that, then, a really good quality protein shake or smoothie to get that really good high quality nutrition into you. So do that for a couple of days before you go for a fast. So that's like it, otherwise you're setting yourself up to just crash and burn. So you really want to just support your system first with nutrition. And then when you do a supported fast, I drink this herbal drink, and you can make it into a tea, and I drink this 4 times a day during my 24-hour fast.
Yeah.
And it's an aloe vera based drink.
Okay.
Aloe vera helps your digestion when you're fasting, and it's got things like a lot of shit in here, but the hard one, they're hard to read, but bilberry is one. Ashwagandha root.
Yes.
That really helps your
Yeah.
mood as well, I think. It's got mood
Yeah.
boosting in it. Raspberry. It's a lot of berry
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Fennel.
Yeah.
Burdock dry root extract.
Yeah.
Siberian ginseng dry root.
Oh, yes.
Licorice root extract. Peppermint dry leaf extract. Turmeric dry root extract, and
Oh,
alfalfa.
that's really good. Yes. Okay. And that's got a lot of protein in it too.
Yeah. And it does make you
That's stunning.
feel a lot better when you drink it. Like it makes a difference. You go, oh, okay, I'm good now. I'm good again for another couple of hours, you know. And then I have these chocolate snacks that are, I think they've got a little bit of whey protein in them, and they help curb hunger. So that's really good because, yeah, I get hungry. I don't deny, like, the hunger comes. No matter how hard you try, it still comes. And then there's this helps with your stress. It's got adaptogens in it. Adaptogens is kind of like a fancy word now. It's basically plants again. Like it's got vitamin B3, B6, B12, B1, B2, zinc, folic acid, alpha again, ginger, bilberry, wolfberry, hibiscus, ashwagandha, watermelon, rhododendron, haranda, Siberian ginseng again. So bamboo, burdock. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a theme there with those herbs, isn't it? And adaptogens, I mean, they're powerful things. Like it's
Super
like
powerful.
lavender, essentially. That's an adaptogen. You know, if you're highly stressed, see, most people think that lavender, for example, is a relaxant, but it's not. It's an adaptogen. If you are super relaxed, it will, activate you.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. This has helped. So if your stress is like this,
mm,
this decreases the curve when you have it. So you still got stress, but
yeah,
you're not hitting the highs and lows the same.
yeah,
And I find that this has enhanced the quality of my life a lot, having those herbs in my life. Despite the fasting, this is one of the main, holy shit, I can't live without that anymore.
yeah,
It's just made a
yeah,
big difference to my sleep and energy, in my state of mind, peace. Yeah.
yeah. So you could, because this is part of your, like that herbal concoction is part of the system that you
Yeah.
use,
It's
isn't it?
all part of the
Yeah,
system. So the system my friends showed me it has, they call it the biohacking system. It basically has 3 key elements to it, which is your protein pacing, your adaptogen plants, and your intermittent fasting. Those are the 3 elements to it that really give you a kick-ass, you know, boost. Because look at me now. Like, I'm not that person I was describing to you before. I have 2 little kids, a little 7-month-old baby and a 4-year-old boy. I work full time. I'm building a business on the side. I have a side hustle as well. I get to hang out with you and do other stuff in my weekend because I have energy. So, like, this is what I want to. This is what I want to share. And the intermittent fasting thing is just like a secret that isn't talked about, which I think and I believe it should be. And it should be part of our like regular, not a weird thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. When your head's in the right place, you really can work it,
you
can't you?
can. You
Yeah.
can. And look, it's not about doing it by yourself either. I think it's really important to find other people that want to do it with you and do it together. It is a real big mind if when you start it, and no one's going to want to do it by yourself. Like, you always want to do it with somebody else when you're trying these hard things. But what I've found is once you do it, and it's like going camping again, once you do it, you just feel like, yes, I freaking did it. I don't have to live with food. Like, you know,
It does not
yeah, I can
define
live in a
me.
tent if I want, you know,
Yeah.
I don't have to have a bloody house. Like, I think it just increases your self esteem, your self belief. Like, you can do it. If I can do it, anyone
Yeah.
can do it because I freaking love food. I will eat anything that's in front of me at any time.
Mm, yeah. So in lots of ways, the process itself builds resilience, and
That's right.
you're you're bringing that sense of power back into
That's
yourself,
it.
internal locus
That's
control.
it. And, when
Yeah.
I hit, like, my goal is 24 hours, but if I hit 22, I'm like, you still did a good job, you know?
Mm,
You
yeah.
still got benefits. It's okay. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to be hard on yourself. It's about doing the best you can. And if you can't make that, that goal, still doing 16 hours as benefits. Like Michael Mosley was saying, you're still getting the antidepressants in your mind. You're still doing a bit of fat burning. Like, don't stress if it's not like as long as you want. So,
Yeah. I had a look at his book, The Fast Diet, which is basically, just another version of
yes. Yeah.
the that you're talking about. And I flipped to the back and read some of the testimonials that people have written about their weight loss and about how they feel about themselves. And, the loss of brain fog and
Yes.
things
It's
like that.
massive.
It's pretty inspiring. And the other thing is, when people are focused on weight loss, and so many people, especially, early part of the
Yeah.
year, people get very thingy about setting goals and suddenly becoming fit and blah, 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 blah. Um, they often will start diets and things like that. I always think diet starts with the word die. It's never going to be that
No.
fun. Um,
You
dear
don't
God,
want to you
me.
don't want to do something that's just a short-term thing either. Yeah.
Yeah. So with the food intake, like, have you changed that dramatically? I mean, it sounds like with your doctor do
Yeah.
that whole thing about protein, increasing
Yeah.
protein.
It's massive. Yeah. You don't realize, like, I didn't know that you need so much protein. Like, I had no idea. No idea. And I just thought it was for gym junkies that want muscle, you know? Like, whatever. Like, my husband would have, where's the protein in this meal? Lash, F off with your protein. Like, I was just like, go get a tin of tuna, you know?
Yeah,
But it's actually like the main primary building block of your body, protein. And you
yeah,
need a shit ton of it. And there's a formula you can do to show how much, depending on your weight, how much you need. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's
it
a
doesn't
lot.
matter.
It's like a chicken meal, a salmon meal, a beef meal, and a pot of yogurt, and you're like, I'm not going to cook all of that in a day. That's in one day.
Yeah. Whoa. That is a lot.
It's too much, really. It's too much.
To
I'm just like, yeah,
consume.
there's no way I'm going to be able to do that. And oh well, my so what happens is your muscles deteriorate if they're not getting the protein, and then you get sarcopenia, which is basically shriveled up muscles, which isn't nice. Well, what you want, and you've got increased risk of injury then and aging and things like that. So what you want is really strong muscles. And
Yeah.
I never really thought about muscles before because I'm not like a I want muscles type of person. But what muscles do is help you burn fat in your sleep. So you don't even have to work on fat loss. You just get muscles and then fat loss happens. So, I'm like, oh, okay. So it's not all about being muscly and looking good for a picture. That's not it. It's about being strong and having your body working really nicely on burning and your metabolism working. So
Yeah.
protein pacing, this guy talks about protein pacing, using adaptogens for stress, and intermittent fasting. That's what this guy's done all his research on with all this other science to back it. So he talks about he's a fellow of the Obesity Society and the American College of Sports Medicine, International Society of Sports Nutrition, 30 years of dedicated science research, and 58 published peer-reviewed articles. So,
Ooh, well, that's
yeah,
impressive.
so he's done a lot of and he's very passionate about it. It's all about increasing your energy and boosting your mood, and
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh yeah,
Life is so much.
that's it. I've definitely increased my energy. That is like my main like if takeaway, I guess. The weight loss thing is like a bonus, but the energy is the number one. Like I can go, okay, yep, I can do stuff because I can actually function and feel good.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to my
Yeah.
kitchen and go, I'm so depressed. I can't even move a cup to the dishwasher. Like I am so done. You know, that was my life before. Like, oh no, like I can't even face it. you know, and now I'm like, ooh, which podcast do I want to listen to while I do this? And la di da, like I've got capacity.
Yes. Okay. That's major. That's massive,
Oh
isn't
yeah,
it?
and I also don't need to do as many dishes because I actually have shakes for my protein, so I don't actually have to cook so much. That's I'm doing this like I found the secret sauce.
Yeah. Keeping it simple.
Keep it simple,
Yeah.
sexy.
Yeah. In my case, it's keep it simple, senile. Wow, that sounds good. I'm interested in that. That whole herbal concoction. When you read out what those ingredients were, I know from historically, like all of those
Yeah,
herbs are
man.
just magic in and of themselves. And I love what you said about, the pharmaceutical companies and the weight loss industry. To be honest with you, I don't have that much faith. I'll say this quietly. I don't have that much faith in the medical system anymore. I feel like there has been systemically a bit of a sellout or a
Oh
buyout.
yeah.
I mean, that's my personal opinion. But so I love the fact that you've spoken about how this is actually a bit secret, the magical secret, and yeah, I think you're right there. They, the big capital THEY, don't really want us to have absolute success and dominion over
No,
our own
that's
health.
right.
And we do have to be that way now, don't we? We have to take responsibility for, the water that we drink, the food that we eat.
Mm.
I know you've got a lovely veggie garden that you're
It's getting there.
beloved,
It's
yeah,
getting there.
looks after to feed your family. So yeah, it's more and more important as we go along, and even things like, you know, the PCBs and glyphosate. Um, where somebody was telling me that when a baby is born, they can actually they can actually pick it up in the umbilical cord. It's that endemic in our system now, that when we're birthing babies,
Mm.
that terrible chemical is there. We've we have to take action,
Mm.
don't we?
And we can, and that's the good news about this, is that there is a
Yeah,
way to reduce the levels in your body,
yeah.
and then to continue reducing the levels by eating dirty.
I love that, eating dirt out of the garden. Yeah, great.
Isn't that
Yeah,
cool though?
and
And that's
it
the
is,
message, you know. That's the message. It's like we can actually detoxify our lives ourselves
yeah,
simply.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We really can. Now, if somebody wants to talk to you about the system that you are working with, how are they going to contact you?
So I have a Facebook page called Borderland Therapy.
Okay, cool. So I'll get the link off you, and I'll put it in the
Yeah.
notes that go with the podcast, so people can
Yeah.
contact you and have a chat if they want more.
Yes. If you want more information, I've got more information.
Beautiful, beautiful. Is there anything else that we need to talk about before we wrap it?
Um, I think, you know, life energy is power. If we can tap into that life energy by helping ourselves become energy itself renewed, then watch this space for all of us, you know.
Yeah.
So much better having energy than not.
She's a mother of two young children.
Yeah, it can be beautiful, it can be enjoyable, it can be achievable. And when people say your life ends after 40 or your life ends after kids, no fucking way, man. It just starts, especially when you find things like this that can really switch your system so that you actually end the aging process and get younger in yourself, younger in your life and your life energy. And then you go, oh man, now my life is just starting.
Yeah. Let's get dangerous.
It's lovely to talk to you, Karen. Thank you so much for having me.
A pleasure, an absolute pleasure. All right. Take care, and I will check in with you in the not too
Yes, I'm
distant
sure you
future.
will.
All right. Thanks,
Right,
Hannah.
bye.
See you.